Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May Contain Action podcast episode Diezi Quattro, which, of course, is German for 14. Welcome to the show. I am your host, actionjaxon, also known as Paul. My co-host is none other than future, former, retired, kind of into it, kind of not into it. Maybe he'll do Little League later on. Trevor May.
What's up?
There he is. And our lovely producer, PM. PM, hello.
Hello.
Nice. See, wasn't that lovely? I always said
lovely.
hello.
And
It
it's
was lovely.
nighttime.
That's why we call him lovely. It's night
I
time.
like Trevor. Sup.
Sup.
Talking about Little League. Sup.
Sup. Yo, we talking about Little League. I'm about to win that ship.
So Trevor, did you play Little League?
Thanks. Great question, PM. Yes. Yes, I did. Somehow that's a prerequisite for playing in the major leagues. I don't know why. It just is that way. It's one of those things, in life that just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
Wait, is it actually like a thing you have to do, or like that's the only way you'll get noticed is if you play Little League?
I mean, it's
is
actually
it like
not
incredibly political at that like that. Okay.
Actually, no. A guy named Lorenzo Kane played for 10 years in the big leagues and didn't start playing baseball until he was 17, junior in high school.
Wow.
Tim Duncan didn't start playing basketball until he was 18.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of that. So yeah, it's not necessarily a prerequisite, but usually getting years and years and years and years of practice, and yeah, that helps. But
Who was your team?
Who was my team? My Little League team?
Yeah.
I was on Bob's
What
Sporting
What was the
Goods.
region?
Literally,
Bob's
it's called
Sporting
Bob's.
Goods.
Yeah.
Was that a
Did you guys ever go to the Little League World
Dix?
Series?
No. Oh, so okay, we play. So I consider everything. It's almost like music is like everything's EDM. Like, come on, EDM's not techno is EDM. It's not.
Okay.
So Little League is actually a league.
Yeah.
I played Cal Ripken. So there is a
Okay,
Cal Ripken
yes.
World Series.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not televised.
Yep.
Well, it is only the championship game is televised, but the it's not a big tournament like it is. It's not backed by the MLB like the Little League World Series is. So,
Okay.
but yeah, we didn't go. No, we went to regionals a couple times, and where I was from,
Nice.
Kelso, Washington, is kind of like we have a good baseball complex there. Surprisingly, it's pretty much the only thing, and so like they host tournaments there all the time because they have so many fields. So we hosted regionals twice, like when I was 10 and when I was 12, so we just automatically got invited. We were pretty good.
That's good.
But the year below me was really good. They went to the Little League World Series into fourth, or the Cal Ripken World Series into fourth, and then the Babe Ruth World Series into second. So they were good. And they carried us when I was a senior and they were all juniors.
So. Were you in it when that one kid got in trouble
Daniel Monte.
for his age? I'm blanking on who it was. Yeah, I think it was he was the pitcher, right?
Yeah, the kid who was 14 playing with 12-year-olds or 10 to 12-year-olds and throwing like 85 miles an hour left-handed.
Was he really?
He was like the next
destroying
sensation,
everybody.
And then he comes to find out, he lied about his age.
Well, they had two kids.
You have a piece of paper that said I'm 14.
Yeah, and you saw him,
that
and
lied
he
about
just
their age.
Towered over his team, like towered over him.
Jeez.
But they had another kid who was also 14. He was smaller though, so they had double cheating. No one talks about him though because he wasn't one of the best players.
No, it wasn't polarizing.
No. But
you can lie about your age as long as
pro ball for a little
awful.
bit, by the way. And Daniel Monte played like
really?
No, I know.
minors for like 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what a heartwarming story. Anyway,
learned a lot about Little League today.
Yeah, and now you know. But we got a flick, don't we?
We do have a flick. We got a flick. Our flick today was suggested by PM. We talk about that a little bit as to why it was suggested by PM in our other podcast. What's it called, Trevor?
Obsessed.
Nice.
With hating.
Nice.
With hate.
With hate. Yeah, absolutely. It's not called Obsessed with Hate. I just want to be
just obsessed. Don't search that. It's in the show notes.
Don't.
So you can go find that episode down in the show notes.
Love that. And that movie is PM.
Ready Player One.
Look at that. Nice delay.
What energy? Ready Player One.
You had to give it a second. You had to Ready Player
Let
One.
it breathe.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Ready Player One, which I was delightfully surprised by it because honestly, my first thought was it's not old enough. Because I was like 2018, like we basically just had that year, right? That just happened. 2018 was last year. It wasn't, by the way.
It wasn't.
It feels like it though.
Several years ago. Yeah. But we want to get right into it. Want to hop in?
Yeah, hop.
Some stats.
Paul, you've
do you
seen
want
this
to read
before,
the
right?
stats
Just
PM?
before we get into it.
I have. Yeah,
Okay.
I have seen this before. Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. I'm gonna make you suffer. Go ahead.
Oh, you are a jerk. I am sick, and I have toilet paper hanging out of my nose as we speak. That's why I don't have a video preview. All right. Some industry stats. This came out March 29th, 2018. The director was none other than Steven Spielberg. The budget was $175 million, which is a lot, but only $75 million more than Emperor's New Groove.
I love
That's
our
the benchmark.
now.
That's the benchmark for everything.
I will never forget that the Emperor's New Groove's budget was $100 million. I will never forget that. Box office grossed around $582.9 million, so it did well.
Yeah, it did.
But that's obvious with a Steven Spielberg movie and with an IP as big as this. Let's see, an Academy Awards nominated for Best Visual Effects. Didn't get it. Tough. Because you hate to see that. Our cast and crew. Ty Sheridan as Wade Watts, Parsival. Olivia Cook as Samantha Cook.
How'd she get her last name?
Right?
Come on.
Right?
Lucky.
I think isn't that back-to-back movies?
It's from the book.
Oh yeah, it is
Yeah,
from the book. She
so-
just so happens to have that name. Good point.
She
It
just
is
so
from the
happens
book.
to have it. Yeah.
You're right.
Wait, what's from the book? What are you talking about? What's from the book?
Ready
It's a
Player
book.
One's a book.
It's a book. So
No, I
that was
know
her
that,
name
but
already.
what
It just
is
so
the-
happened the actor they wanted to play her also had that name. It wasn't written that way.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah, I
it's
see
written
what
that
you're
way
saying.
for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
actor to make it easier. But
Oh, yes. Okay. She played Artemis. Ben Mendelsohn was Nolan Sorrento, which I couldn't help but think of the cheese every time someone said his name. Lena Waithe was Helen Harris, who played H, which is pretty cool. I didn't realize it was spelled this way. It's AECH.
yeah, I put H,
Mhm.
like the letter H, in all of my notes.
Yeah, I
And
did
now
too.
it makes
so
sense.
I did not even know that to this very moment. Mark Rylance as James Holliday, Anorak. Simon Pegg as Ogden Morrow, directed by, again, Steven Spielberg. And screenplay by people. So, of course, it was based on the novel by Ernest Cline. Screenplay by Zach Penn and Ernest Cline. Based on the novel by Ernest Cline by the same name, Ready Player One.
Oh wow, Ernest Cline
So-
also wrote the screenplay. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Wow, that's a cool fact. I'm glad I didn't skip.
Yeah.
It's really good. This is helpful.
Oh, yeah.
We want to get into it. Want to go? Give us our ratings.
Let's pop right in. Okay, yeah. So this is very Spielbergian. You get all the Spielbergy, like epicness, right, from this movie. For a movie that's like a lot of CGI, it's not that bad. Like sometimes too much CGI, you're like, okay, like it just looks so bad that it's bothering me. But this one doesn't do that. I liked the way that it felt very video gamey. But
Yeah.
our first category, as always, is guess the ratings. And this one's interesting. I feel like the Lord of the Rings was a little bit kind of, like we're like 90, and you're like, yep, you got it. Surprise. This one's a little more, it's good, but it's a little more middle of the road. So we got Rotten Tomatoes again as percentages. IMDb is at a 10, and Letterboxd is at a 5. So, Paul, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm gonna give the audience score a 79. I'm gonna give the critic score 75. I'm gonna give IMDb let's see, 6 out of 10. I'm gonna give Letterboxd a 3 out of 5.
Nice. PM, what do you got? What are you thinking?
I apparently we did this together, Paul.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Because I said critic score of 75%, but I said audience of 85. I think these are one of the
85. Okay.
movies that the critics are like, this is too much CGI, this is stupid. But the audience is like, this is so cool. Like, this is what I wanted to see on the screen. And so they love it. I said IMDb is 6.5. And then I said the Letterboxd is 2.5. I feel like Letterboxd would shit all over this movie. So,
See, I thought the
I tend
exact
to think if
opposite.
it's like super CGI, they're just going to be like, no, I'm good.
That's a
I think Letterboxd people love IP. That's my thought.
It's a
There's a
weird,
lot of
it's a
IP
weird
jammed
push
into
pull
this.
here.
Yeah.
It's weird push pull here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Like Star Wars movies, like, right? It's just like it's canon and there's hardcore, so it gets good ratings. But then there's all the people like, I think French films are the real cinema and Star Wars sucks. Like, and then they crush it, right? So it's
Yeah.
a lot of both of those. So like a lot of times it's right in the middle. Okay, so the unveil, and you guys did a good job for the
Ooh.
most part. Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score was 77, which is certified fresh,
Wow.
solid.
Nice.
And the critic
Okay.
score was 72. So pretty good.
Wow, we're
okay.
pretty good.
It was almost like they were like, we like it for what it is, which is great.
Yeah.
Spielberg just doesn't make bad movies in general. So this might be one of the worst ratings he's ever gotten.
Seriously.
IMDb is a 7.4, which is a little bit higher than I thought it would be. I thought it was like a 7.1. That was my guess. 7.4 is pretty solid. And then Letterboxd is 3.2, which is meh. It's like it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. And then I actually read some of the reviews and they're like, yeah, it's entertaining. Tracer's in there. I was like, yeah, you do see
Exactly. Exactly.
which already aged poorly. So now we're like, ugh, Overwatch.
Wait, Tracer aged poorly? What happened with Tracer?
No, nothing. It didn't age poorly, but like no one plays Overwatch anymore. So it's like, oh, this was like the hot game at the time. It was a hot game.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
Overwatch was the game.
It would definitely be Fortnite. Fortnite would be all over this thing.
Who would have known 6 months later Fortnite would just trump everything?
Yeah, crush it.
Who would have known?
Interesting. But also, they didn't have Tracer be like a main character. They're just popping in every once in a while. So I guess it's still kind of a nice little nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Vivian Ward rating, the intro. How are we feeling about the intro, guys?
Oh, the intro. I mean, the intro is good. I think it's a good intro. Personally, for me, I'm gonna give this a 7.5. I think it's a good intro. It introduces us to our main character, tells us the stakes, tells us what universe we're in, what's going on. It literally, the exposition just tells you everything about what you need to know about what's going on. So there's really nothing to hate. It's good. It does its job. It's not like outstanding, but it's good.
It's set to jump too. That helps. I think it gives about
jump. Yes.
The music is great, but again, Spielberg. They had the budget. PM, what do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I said a 7. I mean, I think anytime that they kind of blunt in your face tell you what's going on, it doesn't really have that same effect of like the Vivian Award that we do, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was intentional, but I think it wasn't artistic in any way. Like it was just kind of like, I bet you wonder how I got here type of like intro,
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, those can be kind of boring, but yeah, I mean, it was a vast universe that he needed to set up to basically show how fucked up the world is and how everyone kind of escapes to this, and it's needed. So it set it up, but it was just a little too on the nose, I think.
A little bit.
Fair.
It had those. In my life, it's kind of crazy vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Just a little bit.
Yeah, you're right.
A little bit Malcolm in the Middle feels a little bit. So I gave it a 7 as well.
That's a good way to put it. Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, calling that a Malcolm in the Middle is kind of a good term. We're gonna have to reuse that one. But if it didn't have jump, if it had like some cheaper to use song, I would have been like 5-ish. But jump is just
true. The song gets you into it a little bit.
It's the synth. It's the synth keyboard. Just I just love it. But again, this whole movie's just all in the 70s, 80s, early 90s nostalgia, just left, right, and center, everywhere, all over the place, just throwing it in your face, which I loved about the book. By the way, the second book kind of sucks. So I would not get your hopes up if you want to read that. It's definitely just a bunch of it's like D3 was. Just callback after callback.
No.
Which seems like a money grab because it was written after the movie came out, which is a little bit of a red flag for me. But yeah, 7. I think 7's fair. 7's our good old-fashioned human average. We like it.
Exactly.
We like it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that.
But the Lord of the Rings is so much better.
Yeah. Oh my God, so good.
What about ends? How about scenes though? There were some good scenes. Paul, you How do you feel about scenes?
Scenes. There were good scenes. I mean, I think the most obvious one is the final battle, right? I mean, that's like, that's definitely, I think, my favorite one to watch, as my favorite thing to imbibe, if you will. I would say my second favorite is probably the dance club, the nightclub I can't remember the name of.
What was the club?
It's like, what was the name of that club? The Coincidence Club or the Incidental Club or something like, I can't remember what it was. It was
I'm
like
blanking on it now
a little
too.
obvious.
Distracted Globe.
Yeah, Distracted.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was actually really cool. I liked everything about that. I thought it was pretty neat. Also, it sets up my favorite movie trope in the whole thing, where he's like, they're dancing and he's like, I want to see you, and she's like, you wouldn't like what you see.
We gotta talk about
really
this.
Are we sure? Are we sure?
I'm
Yeah.
hideous.
So I was like, I can't wait to see what she looks like. I'm sure she's hideous. So that was great. So I liked it was like a satirical. I liked it. But yeah, those were my two favorite scenes for me.
Was anyone else confused? Did you guys have this thought? So that he's like, oh, I want to go old school. And he puts on a song and it's like, da 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 da. Of course, the most iconic. What was it from Greece?
Like disco,
a disco
style
song. Who's it by? Oh my god.
Oh, I don't know.
Wow, I don't even know
We
the
need
name
like a
of the
list
song.
of all
You
the
know what I'm
popular
talking
songs
about.
that were in there.
But she goes, oh, going old school, and then they're like their fake floors go together and they start dancing, and I'm like, so like, did they change the music for everyone or just themselves?
I thought that too,
are they
dude. I
forcing
thought that
everyone
exact
to be in
thing.
their narrative right now? Because there's hundreds of people.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what that was, but you're
real
right.
main character energy. So I couldn't help but notice that. But anyway, sorry. PM, you like this. You like this. What scenes are what speaks to you the most?
I think one of my, I think the whole movie is obviously great. Like I just love the references to all the types of IP, right? Like I'm a big proponent of just the metaverse in general and being able to get these IPs together. But one of my favorite scenes, especially when I watched it the first time, was the Shining hotel. I think that one was so good. And when they basically gaslit H into thinking this wasn't a scary movie, and he was like, oh, then that's fine. And then he just gets absolutely terrified by the naked lady. That was one of my favorite like scenes just in general. Like it's, The Shining, it was filmed here in Oregon. So like people here in Oregon always talk about it. And they did they did a perfect job recreating that entire set.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty remarkable.
In that hotel. Yeah.
They definitely obviously used some older like
the actual
clips
footage
and stuff.
movies, yeah.
They did.
And spliced it really well.
So like I was reading up on it, and apparently Spielberg wanted to do Blade Runner actually, and not do The Shining, but the issue was Blade Runner 2044 or 49 was coming out that same year. And it was going to conflict with things, and so he wasn't allowed to do it, and so he paid homage to, I'm blanking on the guy who made The Shining, because I believe he passed. I believe he passed, and so he paid homage to his friend by getting the rights to it and taking some of the clips and making it that scene. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that is.
I feel like that scene was probably like, I just love H. Like he's just so, like he sees the two twins and he's just like, hello, like he's just so friendly, and he's like, you shouldn't be here. And he's just like super nice, and then like the naked lady walks out of the tub and he's like, oh hi naked lady, and then she just like kind of changes to like a zombie. Like I just loved how childish she was with this gigantic body, and he was just terrified the entire time.
Dude, The Shining
that was
scares the
really
crap
funny.
out of me too, man. To be honest, I'm like, this is still kind of scary. I'm still kind of scared.
It is.
Yeah.
It still does it.
Yeah.
Something about hotel hallways, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Looking down a hotel hallway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It like hits me. Like I sit there and I'm like, this is weird. This is a weird feeling.
Especially with the repeating patterns all the way down. You're like, oh,
yes.
yeah. Does this go on forever?
I'm always just
That's
anticipating a
reasonable.
dolly zoom in my own eyes. And
Exactly.
some music
Yeah.
goes, wah, and so I'm like, something's happening, and then just
Yeah.
panic. Yeah, it's terrifying, and it's probably because of The Shining. Frankly, I think that's why it's all in our collective psyche. It really, really ruined. Whenever a horror movie takes something simple and then makes it scary,
And ruins,
it ruins us
Yep.
for a long period of
Yep.
time, and I don't like
Little
it.
girls, terrifying.
And you get trained like you're watching a rom-com and someone's walking in the dark, you're gonna die, and they're like, no, this isn't one of those movies. But I get that immediate reaction. For me, though, that scene was great. But specifically when IOI was trying to beat it and it showed the floor and everyone's just freaking out because they're in The Shining.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
maybe the funniest, like them just, there's the visceral, terrified, so funny. I thought it was so fun. It got me again today. And I was like, oh, I forgot about this. This is great. And then I also really liked the how they pulled the fast one on Nolan. Tried to get him like when he's getting out of his suit to think he was still in the thing. I was like, ooh, they did this good. I like
Yeah,
this.
that was cool.
I
That was
thought it
good.
cool. They got me. I was like, oh, where they get the silencers? Because I'll be honest.
I love that they chose the most ostentatious guns they could have.
Yeah, I'm like, that probably would have
that
given
scene.
away to me, Nolan.
Yeah, like
But you're an idiot. So
they had a bunch of hand cannons with freaking suppressors on them.
I did like how they kind of made Nolan Sorrento a little bit of a dunce, and it made him feel it made the stakes feel a little bit more frivolous and like, he's a villain. He's a good villain. He does a good job, but like he's very clearly not just in control, and he's kind of like you can hate him and also know that he's gonna fail. So that it makes it a fun movie as opposed to like, he's not Thanos, which is nice. So yeah, but I like the Shining one a lot too. I thought, and now that I know the paying the homage to his friend, like that's even cooler.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's super cool. What about characters? I think the characters, there's a bunch of different characters I like for different reasons. I think for very clearly, no, I don't think anyone's gonna pick Z. I'll tell you that much. He's fine, but
Parzival?
yeah, Pars Z or
Yeah.
is that what they call him? Z? Yeah.
I think that's like his nickname.
Pars.
The nickname of his nickname. Yeah.
Yeah, Wade's like Wade's fine, but I'm
He's
like
fine.
Yeah.
I liked H.
He's likable.
He's likable. He's not dislikable, but I like H a lot. Especially after you're saying, then the twist too. Just the most down to earth. You're like, that person's lived, and you know what I mean. And I like that. And then just liked Daito and Cho because I just love ninjas and Japanese people. They think they're awesome. I don't know.
I agree. I wish they spent more time with them.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of wish that they kind of explored their characters a little bit more because they were pretty cool and they introduced them early on. But then we don't really we come back to them. I mean, I think the next time they're mentioned is like after Parzival wins the race in reverse. Like then they come back and like, oh yeah, I forgot about those guys. That's right.
Yeah, they're in the crew.
But they're super cool.
Yeah, in the books they get in they don't actually they don't even know each other really until like the second key or something but they for the sake of the story, which the movie wasn't long enough to do that, so it was easier to do it the way they did it, which I agree with. But yeah, it's a little bit better, a little bit of a slower burn to get them on board to the crew. He's like, I agree. I love that he's like, I don't guild or I don't clan up, and he's just like immediately with friends the whole movie. He's never by himself ever.
Yep.
So I'm like, you're in one. You just don't think you are.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in a clan. And they all use the term like clan up. Like hearing Nolan Sorrento say that like made me cringe. He's like, he's not clanned up. It was like, ew.
It's a little tough to listen to. I know that we don't talk about like the I guess like does this work in the present kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like I feel like saying clanned up is probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
I think it felt like it was tongue in cheek for Nolan to say it. But then they do say it like 2 or 3 more times. And you're like, oh, they're being serious. Like that's how they say it. And it's like, ew.
Also, how does the O in the IOA building, what is that part for? And how do they navigate it?
So rad.
I was
sideways
like,
elevators.
It's in the eye. Like, why is there a big open spot in the middle? Like that seems like a waste of space.
Imagine working in the middle of the O. You'd be like, I gotta walk my ass all the way
It's a
over here
bridge.
just to get to an elevator. Like, it's so far.
Yeah, sorry.
It's so impractical.
Sorry.
That's fine. But yeah, I agree with you, Trevor. My favorite character is probably H. I think I can't think of a character that was more interesting. I would say that I even kind of liked Artemis.
Yeah.
Not Samantha Cook, but Artemis.
Why? Because of her hideous, barely noticeable birthmark.
God, I mean, let's talk about it really quick.
Not only that, she's
quick.
not like I got burned in a traumatic thing. She's like, no, I was born this way. What?
It's so classic. It's just like, oh yeah, you wouldn't want to see me. In the scene before, H talks about how it's probably some dude in his mom's basement named Chuck. And so you're like, that's the worst thing it could be. There's nothing worse than that. That's the nightmare scenario that they built up. And then she's like, you wouldn't want to see me. And I'm like, what could be worse than a dude in his basement named Chuck? I'm like, does she have a leg coming out of her forehead? Is she like horribly melted? Like, what is it? And it's it's a freaking she has a skin tan. She has like
slightly discolored skin
like
around one of her eyes. Yeah.
Soup was spilled on her face as a child. Like it's nothing. It's nothingness. It's like,
I thought she was gonna like be wearing glasses, but don't look at me. I can't see good.
And then he takes the glasses off. He's like, wait, she's beautiful.
You're actually beautiful.
I didn't realize it until he took the glasses off. But it was just such a classic trope. I'm like, are we really doing this? Like, okay. Yeah, she's horrifying.
Steve.
And she has like, she's like super punky too. She has like fishnet stockings on, like Chuck's oversized sweater, red hair, like just the classic kind of like, I don't know, video game girlfriend look. Yeah. Anyway, I'll step down from my soapbox. Sorry. Very frustrating.
PM.
Those are my favorite characters.
Who are yours?
Mine is so like I feel like those are like I try not to do like the main characters. I want to do something a little bit different. So I went with IROC.
Oh, he's great.
I love him just because he's played by TJ Miller, and TJ Miller is absolutely hilarious. He's in the Silicon Valley show. And he's just absolutely hilarious. Like I love the moment when like Sorrento goes back to him and he's like, what's the update? And IROC, so he's like, no, IROC, how are we doing? And he goes, well, to be honest, I think I need physical therapy. And then like, he cuts him off and he's like, no, with the bot. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. Like he's this super imposing bad guy. And Sorrento meets him for the first time in the film. And he's just like, yeah, I kind of had this like neck thing. Can you like look to the right? Like, I don't know, for some reason it just keeps flaring up.
Can you be the right? No, my right, not your right.
He's that, and then they're talking about like, you know, the Easter eggs, and he says like, what was it, like the avatars are going to be on him like hose on Santa. And I was just like, this dude is like, he's just, I can tell how they scripted it was they were just like, TJ, look, you are going to be this bad guy that is not actually a bad guy, and we're just going to let you rift. And we're just going to let you go ahead and do whatever jokes you want to do. Because, like, there is no way that someone scripted these lines. And the way he said them was just so effortlessly. Like, I loved it. And so he was one of my favorite characters for sure. Then I would say probably Samantha Cook. I know you don't like her, but Olivia Cook is just, you know, after watching the House of Dragons, which is what she's in, I just love her.
Gosh, that's right,
she's just really good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about. I mean, she's stellar.
She's just really good. So like, I have to give her props.
And the House of the Dragon, holy frick, she's amazing in that.
Mm-hmm.
She's not bad here. She's not bad.
Yeah,
I just think that I kind of
how they wrote it. Yeah.
It's the character.
Yeah, the character is kind of tough, but
I undercut the character because of her like weird sob story about her face. I'm like, people have that all the time, and they're fine. Like it's not.
No, I get it.
Grow up. You know, grow up.
Exactly.
Do we ever see TJ, by the way? Like, do we ever see him, the actor, like what he looks like when he's in his suit? Like,
no, I don't think so.
No,
it never shows. He technically gets evaporated, like his character does when I can't remember if it was like the Sorrento did something with like the bomb or something like that, and he was like running to the portal. Like I'm kind of blanking on it, and like he evaporates, and I think that was the last of him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I thought you were gonna bluff. I got 10. What'd he say? I got 10 years of crap in me.
Yeah. He said something about like, I thought you were bluffing. Like, no, like this isn't camp. Like you would like he's yeah, he's just funny. He was super funny.
Oh. Yeah, he was great. I wish I would have said him. I completely forgot about him. Especially when he's like,
I wish I said him. Valley Show.
I'll give you 3 times as much pay, or 3 times as much pay. And he goes, done. He goes, wait, I couldn't gotten. I should have said 5. Yeah. Is 4 still on the table? Like it's very much him. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, he's fantastic in the Silicon Valley Show. He plays like the leader of like these really nerdy devs, and he's like, I know everybody in tech, and like he doesn't know anybody. So he's just him in general. Like I just love when he's on things.
Silicon Valley is a great show, and whatever his name is, also in Silicon Valley with him. I'm so funny. I don't know if you've ever seen his sketch comedy, but you should go check it out. He's pretty funny. I don't know his name.
You know what it reminds me of too? Sorry, his a reveal, because they do it very like it's supposed to be this big imposing guy, and then it's his voice that comes out of it, and you're like, oh, okay.
That's the best part.
It's the same thing they do in Invincible. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Invincible.
Yeah,
they do the same thing with Seth Rogen. Like it's like this big enemy like appears.
What's his name? Fred or.
It's something Frank? Like that. Yeah, it's some like really unimposing. Yeah, and then you hear Seth's voice. You're like, oh, okay. It was a funny trope. And the skull outfit, and then when he's like, okay, I know we're like getting early into quotes. He's like, wait, you're not really going to use that thing. I got like 10 years worth of stuff in this body.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's so good.
Hey guys, it's Action Jackson. Just wanted to let you know we've officially launched Ko-fi. That's K-O-F-I, not like a coffee. But subscriptions for Ko-fi. If you'd like to support the May Contain Action pod and the rest of the MCA family of shows, this is the way to do it. Choose a level you're most comfortable with and receive a ton of new perks, like early access to our new bonus show, Obsessed, where we cover our recent favorites in gaming and tech, access to the watch party editions of the show, voting on the community movie picks, and much more. On behalf of Trevor, PM, and I, we appreciate the support from the bottom of our hearts, and we'll continue to give you the best shows that we can. Click the link in the description and become a friend of the pod.
Keep going with the quotes then. Perfect seg.
Perfect seg? All right. That was one of my favorite quotes. I only have 2 others. I honestly felt like this wasn't a super quotable movie. Personally. Mm-hmm. Maybe I missed a lot. That was just me. I had like 2 others. Another one from iRock. Pretty sure that's how you say his name, right? iRock?
Yep.
I think, yeah. He's like, no man is a failure that has friends.
Yeah, when he comes up, puts his hand on his shoulder, and he like shrugs it off. Like, get off me.
Yeah, no man is a failure who has friends.
He says he's like, no man's a failure when he's not alone, I think. Or like, maybe it's friends. I think you're right. No, I think you're right.
It's friends. Yeah. No, I'm right. No, right. Yeah, watch the damn movie. And then Holiday says she wanted to go dancing, so we watched a movie.
Yeah, fantastic.
Classic.
Just leaves it there. That was great.
That guy too. He's in Don't Look Up. He's like the
he is?
The technologist. He's the rich dude who's like builds the ship. That's him.
That's another sneaky one that I forgot about.
Yeah.
Mark Rylance.
Yeah.
Right?
He plays that weird character guy a lot. I think he had I don't know if he says this. I think Ogden says this to him.
You're right.
A fanboy knows a hater. A fanboy knows a hater.
Fanboy knows a hater.
Boom.
Who said that?
I believe Ogden says it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I think it's really like quick, and I was like, oh, that was good. Wait, Paul, do you have any more? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's good. I'm done. I got 2.
There was a good one at the end that Halliday says, I created the Oasis because I never felt at home in the real world. Oh my God. I didn't know how to connect with the people there. I was afraid for all my life, right up until I knew it was ending. That's when I realized, as terrifying and painful as reality may be, it's also the only place where you can find true happiness. He said, what? That's not what it said. He said, only place you can find a good meal. You can get a good meal.
Yeah.
Because reality is real. Why does this say true happiness? Why did they where did I copy and paste this? Oh, I know where. Okay. Cool.
Oh,
We
no.
found a flaw. Gotta train it better. Because reality is real. So the Find a Good Meal was good. And then it's not about winning, it's about playing when he started playing Adventure.
Yeah, that was cool. That whole like scene was actually pretty neat.
Yeah.
They kind of hyped up the mythology around the game of Adventure. Pretty good. It was pretty sweet.
Oh, dude, that's the best part about this story, I think. Just the way all of that, all the references, like you have to have all this knowledge in order to write this. So people love that stuff.
Exactly. It was a reverence for video games that was really cool in the movie.
And we're literally doing a podcast where we review movies. And that's the guy loved movies. So it's like made a lot of sense. He would love this podcast, I think. He would love our
He'd love it.
Our breakdown of his this fake story about him. I think we'd love it. I think this is something they would like.
He would.
I bet you PM's got some good quotes though. Don't you, PM?
No, I got one, and it
One?
made me laugh very, very hard. And none of you have said it, which is making me very, very happy. And it was not by any main character, and it's not like this great quote that's going to leave you with great. It was just a perfect time to drop this. So I'm blanking on what the battle was, but it was a massive battle between a bunch of IP going on, and they were flying. And Chucky was in the car with them, trying to like stab him, and they threw Chucky out. And one random fighter sees him coming, and he goes, "It's fucking Chucky," and then Chucky just stabs him. that part, I was like, that is perfect. That is
the one F-bomb they get. It's the one.
That is this guy that played that actor. He was some random guy. His one line, "It's fucking Chucky."
You're right. That was a great moment. That is a great moment in the movie.
It is a really good moment.
That's what stood out to me. I think I laughed super hard when I heard that. I had to pause to like take a moment to remember that one.
That's awesome.
It's true. It's the one F-bomb. The one F-bomb has got to be. I mean, it's placed very specifically. And it's done very well. Same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy that just happened.
Oh yeah.
Really
what a great rule, by the way. Can we just give a little bit of love for the one F-bomb rule? Like, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
You can say fuck once.
You get one.
And you get PG-13. But any more than that. And it's for old people. Okay?
So, immediately are.
Be smart. And then they always just put it in a line like that. Like just a throwaway one moment that's just pack as much punch as possible. Which
like you're thinking this is like, oh yeah, a really good like family friendly movie, and just some one guy just says it's fucking Chucky. He's like getting stabbed by Chucky. I just for some reason it was like it just broke up the tension, and I think it was perfectly placed.
That's kind of like what Chucky the movie was to. It's like it was like captured it really well because Chucky's like. The movie is like you're getting surprised because you're being killed by a doll. Like everyone's like, "What the hell's going on?" Like the whole thing, that whole movie franchise. That's what it is. People are surprised.
It's just surprise.
Yeah.
Yep.
He just appears and he's a demonic doll, and you're like, "How is this happening?" And so they crushed that. It's perfect. Man, I can't believe we didn't. I'm really surprised Paul and I didn't mention that.
It's really good.
Great job. Well, music. We talked about music. Right.
Yeah.
I have I love 80s music written here. Every song. I'm just like, yep. I've told everyone, I've told a lot of people a lot of times, and I tell Kate all the time because she's the one I talk to the most. Man, it would have been awesome to be like in my early 20s, late teens in the 80s. I would have had a blast. Hair metal and Poison and like all these bands, like I would have just Aha. Like I would have loved Aha so much. Synth pop is my jam, and I loved all the music. And of course, they were just huge songs. Not only that, they were huge songs that they weren't overused in movies, in my opinion. So they were more like pop culture-y. Like they were associated with other movies that were also being referenced in the movie. So I liked that a lot. I think, and that's very Spielberg's got a knack for that. For sure, for making that feel good. But I when you have, I'm sure they had $20 million to spend on the music, so that's what you get.
Licensing alone, yeah, I'm sure. was expensive.
Do you guys have like a
Yeah,
track that did it for you? Because I mean, Jump did it at the beginning for me, but like in general, just everything they used, I loved.
I would say, and we've referenced this earlier, but I actually really did like. There's two moments I liked a lot for music in particular. One was when he busts out the DeLorean and you hear that like kind of the Back to the Future theme song plays a little bit. That was pretty sick. I like that a lot. And then also Bee Gees Staying Alive, what we referenced earlier. When they started dancing on their own. Yeah.
Bee Gees, duh.
Staying alive,
man.
Staying alive. I mean, it's just too good. It's too freaking good. Wanted to dance the moment I heard it. Immediately wanted to dance. So, yeah. No, those are my two favorite tracks, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that soundtrack or is that music?
I think it's technically music.
Yeah,
soundtrack is technically related to like original scores. This is just you're kind of getting the rights to the music. Like I said mine was anytime you can put Prince in there, which they did with I Want to Be Your Lover.
Yeah,
I will take that every time. I mean, your favorite guitarist, the greatest guitarist of all time, will tell you the greatest guitarist of all time is Prince. So like anytime Prince is in there, I'm just gonna go with Prince.
Oh, really? Is that a thing people say?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like that's like it's kind of like a Chuck Norris thing. It's like your favorite drummer thinks Prince is the best drummer of all time.
Yes. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
What's that phenomenon
So he's
called,
not.
I wonder. Probably has a name, right? It's gotta have
Mandela effect.
Sure, we'll go with that.
No, that's like Bernstein binds.
It's called Pandora's Box, right? Pandora's Box, I think that's what it's called.
Oh yeah,
I think it's called the scientific method. What about memorabilia?
Yeah.
This one's a big one. Lot of that.
Oh my gosh, come on, dude.
Whole bunch.
The whole freaking movie, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost not fair because I feel like it's other IP from other movies.
Exactly.
Like, okay, so how about
like
something that's from this movie only?
You know.
Oh, okay. I like that.
I mean, I can't say the headset because technically speaking, if you
wouldn't want
subscribe
that.
to the coffee, you would know. But I would not do the headset. So
I said, well, ... the headset. So
yeah,
oops,
because that's the only original thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'd like the Pain suit.
Yeah, I want a suit where I feel everything
for
being
reasons.
stabbed by Chucky.
Can you imagine Escape from Tarkov with that suit on,
dude?
For reasons, yeah.
For reasons.
I don't know that I'd play that one. I might play like
a
GTA
different
or
one,
something like that.
I might play the Sims.
Different one. I might
where
play
I'm
the
a sim. Oh, you said GTA 5.
Yeah.
That's pretty good too. That's a good one. What about H's van? I got H's van in here.
H's van's good.
The van's cool.
It's a pretty sweet van. It feels like it's a pretty ubiquitous van, but it's a cool van.
Yeah.
Also, the rigging system they had up in there, you can't tell me that's not getting tangled as shit.
Well,
I mean, those guys are doing like freaking karate, like ninja backflips and shit in there. Like, there's no way it's not getting crossed and tangled up. I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah, where does like the action of the character end, and like then like if you're doing a backflip, you're not doing a backflip in real life, so you're doing something, and then it continues on past where you're moving, right? It's got to be.
They took a lot of liberties because I mean, what's his name is sitting down for the entirety of his VR experience.
Oh yeah.
So what? Like, how is he walking? Or like, what is he doing? How's he doing that?
Using a controller, dude.
But memorabilia, I'll take the 3 keys. I thought those were dope. They look really cool. I'll take the keys, 100%.
But the egg,
the egg is cool, but it's like just an egg.
Where am I going to put this? Exactly.
Where am I going to put this giant golden egg? Keys, though, I got places for keys.
I got a pegboard. I can put the keys up there, easy.
I got stuff for keys.
I wonder if you can 3D print them. I bet you can.
Oh shoot!
Let's do it.
Might 3D print me a key. I do it. PM, did you have one? Did you say anything?
No, I just said it was kind of tough because the IP is like, I guess like everything that's you would really want like is from other movies, and it was just kind of, I mean, I guess maybe the pain suit would be interesting.
Okay, so like maybe reference wise then.
Piece that's like
what was your like which reference that we saw somewhere where you're like, oh, I like that. I would like that thing. Anything?
The DeLorean. I think the DeLorean's always like the one thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Going back.
Like it's just like I feel like the DeLorean is one of the more ultimate flexes for like nerds, right?
Yeah.
Like granted, it's not a super nerdy thing, but like if you have one in your driveway, people are stopping and they're like, "Oh my god, it's the DeLorean," right?
I mean,
Yeah,
were DeLoreans
true.
I
even
don't.
cool before Back to the Future? Like, were they super sports cars? They
Mm,
weren't, were they? They were just kind of
I
like,
I
don't
thought they
think
were a
so.
joke. They made it because it was like a joke
yeah, I feel like it
car.
was a joke, which is funny.
Yeah, they
'Cause
weren't
now it's
cool
cool.
before the movie.
Though it kind of
I'm
has a
pretty sure
sports
they
car
were not.
look. I don't know. It's not like he didn't have like a like a you know freaking Camry. Yeah, it was like
Yeah, no,
an
no, no.
Accord, right?
Exactly.
I don't know if those existed then. Well, cool. Then yeah, DeLorean. I mean, I
Yeah.
think everyone would like a DeLorean, except for they probably handle terribly and they get terrible gas mileage. So who's doing that?
Oh yeah, they're not.
And
They are not great.
And who's got enough freaking banana peels to go back into the past? You know what I mean? Nobody. So, but what about recast?
Banana
It's my
peels.
favorite. We should just call this the Trevor recast at this point.
The Trevor
Because I had some good ones, but I want to hear. What like we got? Did we do recasting this week? Did you guys do it, or did we skip it again?
I did
it's not
some,
that
yeah.
yeah, okay, you go ahead.
Okay,
Pete.
yeah.
You
Give me
go.
what you got.
I think so. One of them I kind of struggle with, and that was the James Halliday. I feel like it's just tough to find someone like him. So that's the only one that I really skipped because that kind of scrawny, old-looking nerd, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. But for Wade Watts, I feel like this one's pretty easy. Just Ezra Miller, even though
Oh
he's
yeah.
probably not the best person. It's like honestly, it just looks like it would work. Olivia Cook, I did Jenna Ortega, just
Oh
because of
yeah.
that kind of
Okay.
girl next door vibe. I think that's the best way to describe that like character is like the girl next door type, and so I think she would be great for that. Nick Sorrento, I stuck within DC and I went Michael Shannon just because I think he's a great deep like voiced villain role where he just doesn't look anything but serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then my left field one was iRock. If I had to recast it, I would do Anders Holmes, and that's from
Oh, Anders.
the Workaholics.
Oh yeah, he
Anders.
could have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would
Mm-hmm.
have done a fantastic job with just like his voice. Like his voice would be perfect for that fit. So yeah, that would be my 4 recastings.
Okay. All right.
I feel like
I
there's
like that.
now that I'm thinking about that too. I'm thinking about there's somewhere in this movie Adam Devine could do it. Something he could be in. This.
Oh yeah,
Adam
definitely.
Levine.
Levine, not
No,
sorry.
Adam Devine.
Is it Devine or
Oh.
Levine? No, Adam
Levine
Levine
is
is
Maroon
Adam
five.
Levine's a
that's
singer.
Maroon 5. We're talking about Divine from Workaholics. Adam.
From Workaholics and Pitch
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have been something, some comic
been
relief
yeah.
character, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Paul. Casting.
I got one recast for you. Okay. For Sorrento, Christoph Waltz.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz. He plays a bad guy in everything. I think
Yes.
he'd be really good.
Except for Django
He's a
Unchained. He's a
maniacal
good
bad guy in this. Except for that. He's a good guy. But he's a historic bad guy. But I actually like PM's better. So I'm going to default to PM.
Wait, didn't he play in the original Django as well? And he was the bad guy.
What do you mean the original Django?
Yeah.
Wasn't there an original? Why did I feel like I'm? Yeah, there was an original film. There was some play to that where like his character in the original one was the guy who owned the plantation.
Oh, so he was Leo.
And then in the new one, he's good.
Maybe that was the original
I
writing.
can't remember what it was, but
sounds made up.
Yeah, like something like did I know maybe I'm not doing it right, but yeah, him and Django was huge.
Maybe they did a short version, a short film version, because they do that sometimes, like a 7-minute.
What was the war movie he was in?
Glorious Bastards.
Glorious Bastards.
And yeah, perfect. He was there was that. Maybe that's what we got to watch next because there was one bone chilling scene in that with him walking into the restaurant. I think is what it was when one of the women was like a spy. I think. Dude, that scene you're just on edge the entire time. He is so good,
dude. By the way, there is an incredible interview that Tarantino does where he explains that scene Like how the producers were
Really?
like, dude, this is way too long. He's like, no, just stay with me. Trust me. And it just turned out to be like, because scenes aren't that long. They don't do that in movies on purpose because it gets drawn out. But like they keep the tension for literally 10 minutes, and it's like this was so
it's a
good.
long
One take
scene.
too. The whole thing was one take.
It was one take.
I mean, they did it a couple times, but yeah, the whole thing's one take.
Wow.
What
I actually
about
didn't know that.
what
Okay.
about John Turturro for
Ooh.
James Holiday?
Yeah,
John Turturro.
He's from Transformers.
he's the
he's
agent.
in.
Oh,
He's in The Night Before with the itchy feet.
Yeah.
I
like
feel
him a
like he
lot.
could be that,
He's
like,
funny.
yeah.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I think the actor that played him had a really good, like, detached, like, kind of a thing going on where you actually felt bad for him a lot.
Yeah,
Like, I felt like
Yeah,
every
but
time his avatar showed up, I wanted to be like, "Are you okay?" But I
It's
know
sad
he's dead.
eyes.
But you're like, "You all right?"
Have you seen Severance?
Oh, I love
Paul?
Severance, dude. He's great.
Yeah, a
in
little
that.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like his character, because John Turturro's character in that is kind of the same thing
Yeah.
where he just feels lost.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
Ooh, that's a good one, man. By the way, season
yes,
2, come
Severance.
on.
I know.
You're gonna leave me
hurry the
there,
fuck
and
up,
then now
please.
I've been waiting. Come on,
Come
Is that
on.
the greatest, like, cliffhanger you've ever
one
had?
of the best ones.
Whoa.
ever.
Don't spoil it.
Well, no, we're not going to spoil it, but, like,
All right.
It's great.
oh my god,
If you haven't seen it, watch
we
it.
finished it and we were just like, what?
There's only
Oh,
like
man.
3 good Apple TV shows. That's definitely one of them.
Silo is another good one if you
Silo's
haven't watched
solid.
that either.
If you that's got
Silo's
Tim
good.
Robbins in it. That's
Okay.
got some hard hitters too, man. And Common.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
my
Common's
recast.
the worst part of that.
Trevor's recast.
My
yeah, but-
recast, and you guys didn't. Neither one of you had a Wade, did you? Did we have Wade?
Wade? No.
No.
So my Wade Watts.
No, I did. Yeah, Ezra Miller.
Oh, Ezra Miller. Yeah, my Wade Watts
Oh,
is the younger Taron Egerton from the original Kingsman. That age. I think he could have done a good job.
Yeah, you're right.
He's a little bit, but he's also goofy, and he's a little more serious now, I think. But
He's too handsome.
He is
He's
very
too handsome for
I
the
mean,
role, I'll be honest.
the kid who plays him is pretty handsome too. It's not like he's not a bad looking kid, but you're right. He looks a little
That's
bit more
true.
nerdy.
His jaw's just
Olivia
my gosh.
Cook. I said her last time we did one, so I'm going to say it again. Mahala from the recent movie, oh my god, The World's Ending movie. She's in that, and then she's in Industry. She's good at acting,
Mahala?
and she's also like jaded all the time. So I'm like, she could have done a good job. I think she's a little bit more mature, kind of maybe younger version of her. And then James Halliday, I just threw a Hail Mary here and said Patrick Stewart. Just
All right.
old frail Patrick Stewart from like Logan, that version.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
could have pulled it off. And then Nolan Sorrento, I have 2. I have we could go with a good old fashioned Jason Schwartzman, like the bad guy from Scott Pilgrim, playing that role, or
Like that. Okay.
or Sam Rockwell, which is very similar to what they have. And I
He's like identical
Sam-
almost.
he's
yeah.
almost identical. So Sam
He's,
Rockwell would get it too, but he's a better actor.
He's in
He's
like the villain in Iron Man 2.
He's a villain. in
Oh
Iron Man
yeah,
2.
yeah. He's what's his name?
And he's got like
You
the
know.
whole like when he gets like frustrated, Sam Rockwell does
Hammer.
this frustrated
Just a hammer.
thing really, really well.
Yeah.
And this would have been great in this
Did you
movie.
see his quote the other day?
He's also very quippy.
Very quippy. Like,
Did you see his quote
no, I didn't.
about the Marvels the other day? Like it's kind of sad. He was just like, I'm kind of waiting for them to bring me back. Like he was like really desperate to get back into it.
Really?
And
Oh.
yeah, like he really wants to get back into the Marvel scene, and he's been like trying to put out feelers to get back in, but no one's like responded to him.
Hey,
No
Sam,
way,
Sam,
really?
you got off the ship, dude. It is sinking. You do not want back on the ship. What are we talking about here? Like,
I think, yeah,
not that it's sinking,
it's
but
sinking.
it's not at the height right now. I think that we've had maybe
No.
7 or 8 straight just lukewarm offerings. I understand we
Yeah,
like Marvel
true.
here, but I haven't watched.
Loki was supposed to be good, and
any of
boy,
it.
that did not go too
I
well.
mean, Key
Oh,
is
you
in it
didn't
though,
like
and he has all of his
Loki?
data stuff in
No.
there. That's cool. There's some Easter eggs.
What? No shot. I freaking love Loki. That's funny.
Did you? Well,
I
I
didn't
like
like the
season
second
1. The
season
season
too
2 is
much.
out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's out.
I like
it's
season 2
okay.
a lot.
Yeah,
What?
I'll watch
You guys
it.
both watched it?
Yeah,
I haven't watched the second one, but honestly, Loki I do want to watch, so I just haven't gotten to it. But
Watch the second one, Trevor, because PM over here doesn't like freaking.
yeah.
You're right, though.
So let's just,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Grain of salt from PM over here.
Exactly.
Gosh.
Awesome.
This guy.
Awesome. But I think those are good, except for Patrick Stewart. That was terrible. He probably wouldn't be great. Actually, my top 3 probably aren't great. But Sam Rockwell, good one. Nice, Trev. Thanks, guys. High five. Cool. So,
great job, buddy.
We are here at the end of our show. And now we need our rating. And now you don't need, like, it doesn't necessarily, because we mentioned this earlier, it was kind of a recent movie. So I just kind of like have a 1 rating because there's really not a lot of nostalgia. So I gave it a 6.5. That's probably my solid. That's a solid in my book. I do like rewatching every once in a while, but it's not like I need to watch this movie once a year or I will die. It's not one of those.
Yeah. No. Okay.
PM. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think comparing it to the first time I watched this, I would say it's probably around like a 6 or a 7. I think the CGI doesn't really. It's kind of tough now, like especially with the advancements of CGI today. Like it's hard to almost go back unless you're going so far back that it's almost like nostalgia. It kind of lacked in areas there, but like when I first watched this is when I first was introduced to like Twitch and watching you guys for the first time at work, and I was like really enjoying the like video game thing, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like really cool, like this speaks to something I care about, like, you know, it's fun and exciting. But now it's kind of like, yeah, you're kind of a nerd, dude. Like, I know that sounds awful, but part of me watched this and I was just like, dude, you probably stink. You haven't touched grass. I mean, granted, there wasn't grass to touch, but like, you need to like get out of this and like go do something.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't as like engulfed with this the second time around. So I would say around a 6 or a 7. And I feel like this is one of the movies that if you rewatch it and you already know the end, it kind of takes away from it a little bit. These are definitely one of the movies where the endings and the Easter eggs and the twists you need to have like the first time. Knowing what's about to happen kind of spoils it a little bit.
Okay. All right. I feel like, all right. I will say, not that I'm like a big apologist again for this movie or anything like that, but the character does come to that eventually. I will like,
it's like
Wade
the point
Watts,
of the movie, right?
Yeah. By the end of it, he's like, I gotta get a girlfriend and like go out every now and then because this is like too much. So he does kind of get to that point. Not that like you need a girlfriend, but I'm just saying like he develops a relationship with someone outside of the Oasis and takes 2 days off a week. You know, like I get it. I will agree that knowing the ending does take away from it a little bit. However, I forgot the path that they get there. So that was nice. I forgot how they get to the end and like the whole adventure thing and all that. I thought that was really cool. So reliving that was really sick. So I'm going to give this, again, kind of like what IMDb said. Like, I just had fun.
Yeah.
It was just fun to watch. I found myself dialed in to a lot of the scenes because, like you said earlier, Trev, the CGI was really well done. At no point was I like, this is some weird uncanny valley and it's like uncomfortable to look at. It was fun to watch like the whole way through. Like the death race was fun. What's his name's workshop was really cool.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I would say I'm giving this like a 7.2, like a little bit more than a 7.
We're going full
It was
IMDb. Same.
I had fun, dude. I had fun.
It's fun. Some movies are just for fun. It's literally a movie about video games and nostalgia. It's just fun. Those two things are fun. So, and I thought the story's good. It's good. It's a well-written story. It's a good book. I like the book. I still like the book, even though the second one just like, ugh, but it doesn't matter. it does not matter. This one's good and it's fresh. I feel like it's unique, and I've always like thought about an idea of a game like, or like the Oasis existing. Like I was like, what if? What if we were immersed and we were all our own person, but then we could do whatever? And that idea is cool. But obviously, now that we're adults, we see that is not a good thing for our society or our health. It just probably isn't. Though it was funny when that woman was about to fight that guy and sneak up on him, and her kitchen's on fire, and her son's like, "Mom!" And she's like, "Get your dad!" And the guy just so funny. And then she gets shot and falls off the couch. That was funny, though.
She dude. There's so many questions about the haptics in these things, like the force it would take to push her off of the couch.
Yeah, like what? And then, how about the guy loses all his stuff and then like fakes jump out the window? I'm like, easy. And it was like, of course, it was like in Japan. I'm like, that's a literal thing. That's like there was a time in history where it was a major problem.
Yes,
for businessmen jumping out of windows of high rises. It really was. So it's like they had like a whole thing about it. So it's like, whoa, why'd we do this? We could have.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this was filmed. It was probably filmed in 2017, and not to say that like PC culture wasn't in place, but there was definitely a big shift in 2020, 2019.
We're in a different world.
And I think I think this definitely hit right before that. Especially with like the claned up thing. Like, I'm serious. Like, I don't think anyone can even say that in public anymore. Like, I know it doesn't have any like bad things about it, but just saying claned up, like, no.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until you said it.
That's the first thing. You're right. Yeah. Which that definitely wasn't what people were associating that with immediately in 2018. Oh,
snap.
So, wow, that's interesting. At the same time, like, some things just are like, they're kind of shocking and they're in a movie, but they're not harmful because I don't know. I'm having this realization that younger kids, they know more than I'm giving them credit for. They do. And like, I'm like, who's this for?
Yeah.
Everyone's not 6 years old. Like 12-year-olds know a lot of crap. They've looked at a lot of stuff. And I knew a lot of stuff when I was 12. I'm not giving myself credit for that. So a lot of times it's like, it's actually not, it's just kind of part of growing up. Like, this is how you kind of get exposed to things like this because you're not going to be able to avoid it. So, but yeah, it was like a little bit shocking. I was like, whoa. Like, I forgot about that. But at the same time, like, I'm like, change it. I don't know if you change it, but it's a little bit more noticeable now, but that's just kind of how it goes, I guess. Anywho, that's our pick a flick for this week. Thank you so much, PM, for the movie recommendation. We have Paul. Actually, it's your choice next, because I did Fellowship, and so
that's right.
Feel free to
pick a banger.
Pick any movie that isn't a Mighty Ducks movie that you possibly want. Thank you so much. And if it is,
might I make a recommendation?
Okay,
Paul. Might I make a recommendation for you?
You may. I'll allow it.
Can you make it an Oscar-nominated film?
Yeah.
I will make no such promise.
Can we be cinephiles for real once?
Well, the issue is my wife really enjoys the Oscars, and we put on an Oscar party, and she watches every nominated movie. She woke up at 5 a.m. to see the nominations. So I cannot watch movies unless they are Oscar nominated for the next month.
Like within the recent year, or
wait, when are the Oscars?
Yeah, within the recent year. They're in April, I think.
Yeah, early April, right? Oh, cool. Oh, Kate and I also have talked about possibly going to Telluride, the movie film festival this year, which might be.
Oh, is it the car? Oh, okay, Telluride.
Do you know where Telluride is?
Kia.
It's in the
Is
mountains
it near Palisade?
in California. It's a super fun.
It's near Optima.
Okay. All right. Yes, guys. That car is named after this town. Okay, you weirdos. It's right
by Sorrento. It's very nice.
Oh my God. Okay. That ends the show. But we'll tell you what show movie we're gonna do next time when Paul chooses it. All right. This has been the maycontainaction podcast. I'm gonna take us out because Paul's sick and he's spoken enough.
Right? I have.
It only took me an hour and a half to get there and help you out. We will see you next week. Don't forget to, if you're listening or watching on YouTube, give us a little thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if that's where you like to listen, or on Spotify, Apple. I believe we are on iHeartRadio now. We are on Anchor. I don't think it's called Anchor anymore. Everyone keeps buying all these things up, but we are on a lot more platforms. We are probably on the one you are on now. I realize that I haven't mentioned that. We have actually been there for a couple weeks. So give us 5 stars wherever you listen, and check out the new bonus show. What's it called again, guys?
Obsessed.
It's called Obsessed. Check it out. It's on the MCA network. You're going to get it a few days after this one. But we talked about some fun technology and other crap. So we'll see you next week on the show. You have a good one. Goodbye. Get out of here.